Hello crew, in this video I wanted to walk you through how to use Desmos to make a graph. So let's go ahead and do that. In order to use Desmos to graph data, we're going to need to add a data table. The Add Item button here in the top left corner does that, and we can choose the table option. Alright, we've got our table option chosen. It's labeling things as x1 and y1. So you'll put your data in there. Maybe your data looks like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then maybe this line is 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, something like that. And it's automatically plotted all of our data points for us. We are going to want to rescale our axes so that the data takes up most of the page. To do that, I'm going to click and drag to bring the origin to the bottom left corner. And then this wrench will allow me to choose an axis scale. I can see that my x data goes up to 5 at the most, and so really my x-axis should, it's not letting me click. All right, that let me click. All right, x-axis range. I want it to go from a little bit below 0 so we can see the origin, so maybe negative 0.5. And then I want it to go all the way up through, my biggest x value is 5, let's go ahead and make that 6. On the y-axis, again, I want the origin to be visible, so maybe negative 0.5, so that we can be just below. And then the max value for my y data is 15, so maybe I make this 16 big. And now if I unclick from that, I can see my data takes up most of the screen, which is great. Let me switch to projector view so you can see that a bit better. All right. What else do I need to do? I need to label my axes, and so maybe my x-axis label, that's again in the wrench up here is where I put my axis label. That's time measured in seconds on that axis, and my vertical axis, my y-axis, maybe this is velocity. Velocity measured in meters per second. Don't forget to include both the physical quantity, what you're measuring, that's velocity and time on this graph, and the units for those quantities, which are meters per second and seconds respectively on this graph. So include quantity and the units you're using to measure it. So this graph's looking really great. What else can we do? We can run a line of best fit through this data. Let's talk about how to do that. I am going to need to match whatever my column headings are on my table. I want to do y equals mx plus b. They labeled it y1, so I'm going to type in y1. And instead of an equals, I'm going to put a tilde in there for a line of best fit. The tilde is found, it's the key to the left of the 1 on your keyboard. You have to press shift and then hit that key. And then y equals mx plus b is my equation for a line. So I'm going to do y1 tilde mx1 plus b. Students often forget to put the subscript 1 on the x and y when they're doing this. So that's the biggest mistake I see. Don't forget to make it y1 and x1. You can see that I get statistics for my line of best fit. The r-squared value tells you how good your fit is. I have a 100% good fit because this isn't real data. These are numbers I made up. The parameters, it says that the slope m is 3 and the y-intercept is 0. So it tells you the slope and y-intercept of that line of best fit. All right, this graph is ready to be exported so that I can put it into my lab report. I've got my data, I have the line of best fit, I have axis labels with their units. And so now I can export this graph using this share graph option in the top right corner. And then I can export an image, and I can choose what the image looks like. This looks pretty good. Maybe I want the lines to be a little bit thicker. You can choose your line thickness. I tend to like the bigger ones. And you can choose, do you want a medium square? Do you want a large square? Do you want a large rectangle? I tend to find that the medium square is usually a good choice, but it's up to you. You can then download the PNG image, and you can, after you have that PNG image, put the image into your lab report. So in Google Docs, you can go to Import Image, and you can put the image of your graph that you just downloaded. So that's the basics for how to graph data using Desmos.